If no one needs you, you don't even want to exist. And that's much more important than love you. Nobody loves me. So, nobody needs me. Oh, then I can't live. We're so brainwashed that the most important thing in life is love. Nobody talks about being needed. And yet, we have this experience all the time. When somebody needs you, you wake up, you come alive.
מהתמכרות לגאולה. שמי דוקטור אפרת לירז, והפודקאסט שלי מדבר על התמכרות וגאולה. אם אתם מרגישים שאתם מכורים לאשמה, לרגשות של כעס, של זעם, של בושה, אם אתם מכורים לסמים, לאלכוהול, או סתם מכורים לקניות או למערכות יחסים מבאסות, אז הפודקאסט הזה הוא עבורכם. בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח ונצא מההתמכרות שלכל אחד מאיתנו יש לעבר גאולה, חופש, חיבור לנפש האלוקית שנמצאת אצל כל אחד מאיתנו, ונדע איך לנצל את ההתמכרות ואת הכאב והסבל שיש בה לעבר גאולה, שזה חופש פנימי, אמיתי, חיבור אלוקי עם בורא עולם, עם החלק הגבוה שלנו, שבו נוכל להגיע לתשוקות האמיתיות שלנו ולמה שבאנו להביא לעולם. בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח. לאור ההצלחות הגדולות של הפודקאסטים הקודמים, אנחנו זוכים היום שוב לארח מניו יורק את הרב מאניס פרידמן, מרצה, הוגה, דעות, וסופר, חסידי בעל שם עולמי. מחברם של ספרים רבים ובהם לא ביקשתי לבוא לעולם ובעידן התמימות, שנכתב יחד עם דוקטור אלעד בן אלול. בפרק הזה אנחנו נעסוק על ההבדל בין הטיפול הקלאסי בפסיכולוגיה לבין המבט הייחודי של ספר התניא על מבנה הנפש של הנפש האלוקית והנפש הבהמית, ונביא כיצד החוכמה החסידית מציעה לנו מפת דרכים רוחנית עמוקה להתמודד עם חיי היום-יום. בעזרת השם אני רוצה להגיד תודה רבה לאלפי המאזינים שנכנסים כל שבוע לפודקאסט. מתחת לכאן לפודקאסט יש קישור לקבוצת וואטסאפ, שם נשלח סיכום של הפודקאסט עם הרב מאניס פרידמן עם נקודות ללמוד ממנו. בחסדי השם נעשה ונצליח. Thank you so much. Last time we spoke about sexuality and a lot of people reacted to the podcast. And today I want, first of all, thank you so much for coming again. And
it was such a big hit the first time. So.
אז היום אני רוצה שנדבר על טיפול. A lot of people that listen to our podcast have problems and dealing with pain, and they're going to therapy. And we want to talk today about the difference between therapy with spirituality in it, ונדבר גם על ספר התניא, האדמו"ר הזקן, ומבנה הנפש היהודית, מול regular classical טיפול, פרויד, מלאני, קליין, without the spirituality. Does it work?
You're talking about emotional pain?
Yes.
Most emotional pain today comes from trauma, neglect, abuse, right? Freud and classical psychotherapy wasn't really designed to help with trauma. It was designed to help with mental illness, like schizophrenia and so on. And that's why when you use it to treat people who are suffering from trauma, it doesn't work so well. It's a different issue. It's a different problem. And very simply or simplistically, if a person comes along and says, I'm crazy, I act crazy. I don't know why I do this. Why can't I be happy? Why can't I? Right? They know something is wrong and they don't know how to fix it. That is not a mental problem. They know it's wrong. So their head is healthy. If a person really has a mental problem, they'll never call it a problem because it's them. They'll think everybody else is crazy. So as soon as a person walks in and says, I have suicidal feelings, I don't even know why. There's nothing wrong with my life. Why do I have these feelings? So where is the problem? Not in his head. His head is healthy. The problem is someplace in the body, in the nervous system, in the muscles, and the body's memory. And the question is, how do you get it out of the body? So don't tell him that it's crazy and that he needs therapy. He told you he's crazy. It's a completely different kind of a problem. Then there's another thing. What is the difference between sanity and immorality or morality? Today in America, there's a whole scandal. Some guy came into a church school and killed 2 people, injured 17 people, mostly children. The whole country is horrified. Of course, they're going to blame it on insanity. He had problems, whatever. Shooting children is very immoral. I think everybody would agree on that. And it could be crazy. How do we know whether it's a lack of morality or a lack of sanity? In fact, why do you think it's crazy? He doesn't like children, so he shoots them. Why is that crazy? I don't like pizza. Yeah, you think I'm crazy? I don't like pizza. It's not crazy. Why is it crazy for somebody to shoot children? The only reason it's crazy is because the average person has morality. So is it morality or is it insanity? What's going on here? In Tanya, he explains that when a Jew sins, it's because nichnas beruach shtus. He's a little crazy. So is it an avera or is it a mental problem? Are you crazy or are you bad? The beautiful thing is that Tanya says, no one is bad, but you sometimes go crazy and you do bad things. So if you didn't have a little insanity, you would never be immoral. Hey, interesting connection between the two. You would never do something that is wrong, according to the Torah, if you weren't a little crazy. Your normal self doesn't do that. Why? Because if God doesn't want, you don't do. It's a whole new definition of sanity. Sanity means if you know that Hashem doesn't want, you don't do it. If you know that Hashem does want, you do it. That's called sane. So it's very hard to separate. And your question is, can you really cure somebody without spirituality?
Exactly. יש את האדמו"ר הזקן, שהוא המקור, שמדבר על נפש אלוקית ונפש בהמית. יש לנו בתקופה של 100 השנים האחרונות את ויקטור פרנקל, שמדבר על למצוא את האל הלא מודע, you have to find the spirituality, את האל הלא מודע בתהליך הטיפולי. יש לנו את 12 צעדים, ביל ווילסון שהגיע מארצות הברית, שמדבר על רוח, ואז יש את כל הגישות הקלאסיות כמו לקאן, שבעצם אין מקום לאחר הגדול, ככה הם קוראים לכוח עליון בטיפול. ואני שואלת אותך כמי שמומחה בתורת הנפש וכתב גם כמה ספרים על זה, איך אתה רואה את זה בתהליך טיפולי?
If it's an emergency, dangerous, a person is suicidal, or then you don't talk about the spiritual.
Of course.
But once the emergency is over, and you want to know how a person should live, then you have to look at the tzad haruchni. It's like the hospital. If you're in danger, the emergency room will save your life. Now, how do you live healthy? Don't ask the hospital. They don't know. They only know what's not healthy. So in psychological and emotional things, the same. That they can save your life. It's brilliant. Just psychology, no spirituality. But if you want a way to live, the secular has no idea what life is or how to live life. Viktor Frankl, he's getting close to, it's therapy, but it's also something a little spiritual. You have to have meaning in your life, then you're healthy. The question is, what is meaning? So he gives an example. A person is in a concentration camp, and his father is there. He has to take care of his father. He will survive because he has a purpose, he has a meaning. If you just want to survive, you're not strong enough. But what happens after the Holocaust? Okay, they open the concentration camps and you can go home. Now what is his meaning? What's he living for now? He has to find a new meaning. So a meaning that can end can be very frustrating. You have meaning, you live, all of a sudden you don't have the meaning, you crash, and you find a new meaning, if you hope, or you don't find. And then there are people who find a meaning, and they work at it very hard for many years, and then they realize, zeloze. Now what? So Frankl is correct. He just doesn't tell you what is the meaning, not find a meaning. Whatever meaning you can find. There's the meaning. Life has a purpose. You don't have to find it. You don't have to invent it. You have to learn it. Torah gives us the meaning, the purpose. So without it, life is not healthy. Just a very powerful example. If the world ended, chas v'shalom, if the world ended tomorrow, everything just stopped, everything ended, over, finished, would it be a tragedy? To whom? So what? That is a very important question. If there was no world, would there be a tragedy? Or would it be a relief? Finally, it's over, no more problems, no more... That's it.
A lot of people that are in pain, they wish they were dead.
Yeah.
They won't kill themselves, but they wish. It's peaceful thinking. Yeah. It's you finish the pain in your life.
So what are we living for? If we all stopped living, we wouldn't care. So what are we living for? What are we fighting for? What are we struggling for? That is such an important question. And children are starting to ask the question. Why was I born? Why did you have me? I don't care. So it's all your fault. So where does sanity and godliness come together? If the world ended tomorrow, it would be a tragedy. For whom? For the creator of the world. That gives you a whole new definition of life. Life doesn't mean I need to be here. Life means I am needed for some purpose. So do I have to make up a purpose? No, the creator of the world better have a purpose. So if you're in touch with his purpose for your existence, you have a good reason to live.
But a lot of times people don't know what is their existence.
Right. So not knowing your purpose will lead to
depression,
emotional
addiction,
problems, and immorality. So if you do something that he doesn't want, are you bad or are you crazy?
Both.
That's right. You can't separate the two. A pasuk in the Torah that says, Ovad chosid min haaretz, v'yoshor ba'odam ayin. There's no more chosid. When Moshe Rabbeinu died, the angels in heaven said, Ovad chosid min haaretz, v'yoshor ba'odam ayin. If the chosid goes away, then the yosher goes away. There's no yashar. Yashar means normal. If you're not serving, chosid means to serve. If you're not serving, you're not healthy. But we'll make another important distinction. There's physical and there's spiritual, right? That's usually we talk about. But the word spiritual may not be the right word. Because there's physical, there's spiritual, and there's godly. So there's gashmiyut, ruchniyut, and elokut. These are three very different things. Spiritual is not necessarily kosher.
נכון.
If you can predict the future, that's spiritual. If you know what I'm thinking, that's spiritual. It's not good. You could be a very bad person, and you can predict the future. So you have spiritual chushim. Doesn't mean you're a good person. Godly, Eloki, means you're connected to Elokim. It's a very different thing.
You can be ruchani, but not connected to God.
Yes, and you can be connected to God and you're not ruchani.
You find it a lot. That's how
You're just a simple person, but God is important to you. So in some sense, that's what the Baal Shem Tov was saying, that the Ish Pashut can be closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu than the Talmud Chacham. Talmud Chacham probably has more spiritual feelings, talents. Doesn't mean he's closer to Hashem. So what we're talking here is either physical or godly. Spiritual, The spiritual also needs to be godly. Otherwise, where are you going? So you can, I was talking to, in the 70s, people were into cults. Everybody was in a cult. And this Jewish boy was saying that in his cult, they learn how to levitate, to float in the air. I said, so? He said, you don't believe me? I said, I believe you. So what? So if you don't have a chair, you can just sit in the air? Good. So what? And he was shocked because they told him this is going to be the next step in your growth and you're going to be able to levitate. So what?
זה כמו לדוגמה עכשיו יש גישות טיפוליות שבאים עם מצוקה של פוסט-טראומה ונותנים סמים. ואז דרך הסמים אומרים שזה פותר את הבעיה של הטראומה, ובעצם מכניסים אנשים לטריפים.
Yeah. And sometimes it saves people's lives. And sometimes it makes you crazy. Here's another very important distinction. When they have these very, very intense experiences, psychedelic, they think that they have been touched or affected very deeply. It's not true. Intense is not the same as deep.
Wow.
נכון.
Can you explain it a little more?
Deep means something you became. If you're touched deeply by something, you become it. Intense means it's not you. You're overwhelmed by it. So when you think, wow, that was powerful, I'm a different person now. No, you're not. That was an experience. It's not you.
Can you take it, for example, אני קצת סוטה, למשל להגיע לציון של הרבי, ופתאום אתה רואה אנשים שיש להם בום גדול, אבל בעצם what you're saying, if you're not doing anything afterwards, it's like a drug?
Yeah.
חזק.
The word high means it's not you. You experienced a high. You're not high. You experienced a high. You'll be excited for a couple of days and it'll go away. So even the word exciting doesn't mean affected. How long can you be excited? No matter what you do that's exciting. A week. So in Hebrew, hispilus can be very intense. It goes away. Hitorerut, that's deep. So a guy can make a speech and cause a great excitement and everybody get excited, and it's not deep. You can play with people's emotions. Mushrooms can play with your emotions and give you a very intense feeling. Intense doesn't mean deep. Like you can fall in love with somebody intensely and you think this is the most real thing in the world because it's so strong. It's so strong, it's not you.
Chemicals.
Internal chemicals. But this happens all the time.
אז מה מיוחד למי שלא מכיר את ספר התניא, שבעצם נותן לנו התייחסות אחרת לנפש ולכאבים שלה ולהתמודדות, שיכול לעזור לאנשים וגם יכול לעזור למטפלים שמקשיבים פה לפודקאסט, להכניס לתהליך הטיפולי.
One very important נקודה. מי אני? There are some things I like about myself? Some things I don't like. So mi ani. Am I the good guy or am I the bad guy? The Torah says that you have bechira. Right? What is the bechira? You have a yetzer hara and you have a yetzer hatov. You feel good, you feel bad. You desire good, you desire bad. And you have to make a bechira. You have to be bocher. Which one do you want to go? So the question is, who is bocher? The yetzer hara just wants ra. He can't choose good. The yetzer tov can't choose bad. So who chooses? Who am I? So the Tanya tells us that you are two people. It's not just a good mood and a bad mood in one person, because that's crazy. If there's only one person and he's good and he's bad, he's crazy. Can't live like this. You have two people. It's like an argument between two people. They can both be healthy. But one is human and one is godly. So you can be a human being or you can be something more. If you're a human being, then you're selfish and you're frail. You have worries. You're afraid to die. You're afraid to suffer. You have to protect yourself. You're a human being. You want to know. You want to understand. You want everything to make sense. You're a human being. There's another part of you who thinks that human beings have no purpose. So what? So this is a cup, this is a table, and you're a human. So what? What's the difference? You're more than a human being. You're a nefesh eloki. You're a chelek elaka mima'al. That's something to be proud of. That you're a human being. Yeah, so a stone is a stone. In other words, you were created human. What did you do? What did you accomplish? That you're a human being. You were created a human being. You were born human. So in 80 years, what did you accomplish? That you're a good human? Like a good stone? A good tree? So when a person does something immoral, he sins, he does avera, what's going on? What he says in Tanya is amazing. If a Jew does something that a Jew is not supposed to do, it's not his nefesh eloki, and it's not even his nefesh habahami. It's insanity. You lost your mind. It's like if an animal runs into a fire instead of running away from a fire. So you say, oh, that was a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. He's crazy. It's not natural. To do avera for a Jew is not natural, not even to your human soul. Your human soul wants comfort, wants pleasure, doesn't want sin. That's why ein adam over avera ele im kein nichnas bo ruach shtet. So your human side is ego-driven, but it's not sinful. If you have a kosher sandwich and a non-kosher sandwich, and you want the non-kosher one, this is not you at all. It's not your nefesh eliki, and it's not your nefesh bahami. That's why it's called bahami. It's not ra. It's an animal. Wants to survive, wants to be comfortable, wants to be safe. It doesn't want to do dafka, the bad thing. So if you do a bad thing, it's because you forgot who you are.
אז אם אנחנו מביאים את זה לעולם הטיפול, and מישהו מגיע לטיפול קלאסי, עם כאב בנפש, דיכאון, for example. אז אם ניקח את זה לגישות רוחניות, יגידו שהוא בריכוז עצמי.
It's both, and it needs two kinds of treatment, one without the other. So, for example, a person who is depressed doesn't see a reason to live. He doesn't understand why people get up in the morning and they go to work and they're excited. What? I don't want to do that. I'm not excited. I'm not interested. You can convince the person it's healthier. You'll live longer. You'll have a better life. Okay. But then you go a little bit deeper. Everyone in the secular world will help you have a better life. You have more money, bigger house, vacations, better life, yeah? But a person who gets depressed could also have a question of, what do I need life for? I don't want a better life. I don't want life at all. I'm not jealous of the rich people. I don't understand why they're happy. What are they happy about? Because they're rich? I don't understand that. There's something in the dikaon. Who needs life? So don't tell me how good life will be. Tell me why I should live at all. Now, who's going to answer that question? Freud? He doesn't know. So we live, like for 5,000 years until the Tanya, we live with the idea that you have to make your life better. You have to have a good life, quality of life, better life. Who answers the question, why do I live at all? Who has an answer for that?
במיוחד היום שאחרי המלחמות, אנחנו חזרנו לתקופה של 7 באוקטובר, שיש כל כך הרבה פצועים וכל כך הרבה תקופה עם כל כך הרבה חיילים פוסט-טראומטיים, כל כך מיום ליום עוד ועוד חיילים מבינים שהם בטראומה, ובאמת הם שואלים בשביל מה?
So you have this very strange thing. The Giborim who saved many lives risked their life to save many lives, and then a year later, they killed themselves. What is this?
או שיש להם, אני עובדת בבית מאזן, ואתה רואה את החיילים, שיש להם אשמת הניצול, כל כך הרבה, שזה למה אני חי שהחבר שלי מת. יש הרבה?
The survivor, what is it called? Survivor guilt.
אשמת הניצול.
Yeah. That's not. If you survive and your friend doesn't, you can have that guilt. You saved his life. You saved 50 lives, which means life is important to you. Then you kill yourself? Because, of course, you have to save a life. But then you sit and think, why? Ma ze chayim? Mi ha'ish hachafetz chayim? Who wants life? When you get to the real crisis of life, who wants life? There was a girl in yeshiva, came to talk to me, and I know that she is one of the best girls in the school. 17 years old. Comes to talk to me. She says, I just want to ask a question. What is wrong with having a boyfriend? I said, oh, come on. You're in yeshiva for 8 years. You're the best girl in the yeshiva. You don't know what's wrong with having a boyfriend. She says, no, listen to my question. I know it's wrong to have a boyfriend. So what? She's asking, what's wrong with being wrong? I'm a bad girl, so what? And if I'm a good girl, so what? What?
Smart girl.
Huh?
Smart question.
It's a very important question. So if I'm a good girl, some people will like me. If I'm a bad girl, other people will like me. I can have these friends, I can have those friends. So what's the difference? In other words, is bad really bad? Is good really good? There are good people, there are bad people. You want to be among the good people, you want to be among the bad people. What is the difference? Good people are not happy sometimes. Bad people are happy sometimes. What's the difference? Actually, she said, I was told that I should be good because if I'm bad, I'll get a bad reputation.
גם משהו חיצוני.
So now I thought about it, and like, a bad reputation by who?
Exactly.
By the teachers in school? I don't like them. I don't care what they think about me. So now why should I be good? We're so afraid of these fundamental questions. Lo b'kashti lavo la'olam. Can you answer that? Because if you can't answer that, then you don't know anything. The whole basis of life, you have no basis. And that's why without the godly part, without the chelik eloki, you're not answering any questions. You saved many lives. You're such a hero. Yeah, why? Why? It's good to be alive? Sometimes not. So why am I a hero? That's what bothers them. Everybody's telling me, I'm a hero. What? People die miserable death. That's not good. And if you live a miserable life, it's better. It's such fundamental questions that we're afraid to ask it. So, how much of a difference would it make if I knew why I'm alive? And that the reason I'm alive is the most important thing in the whole universe. It's not good to be alive. It's absolutely necessary. Bereshis bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Bishvil ma? That's not an important question? The whole shamayim and the whole aretz and everything in it is created bishvil ma? So that you could do a mitzvah. That a good reason to live? Without you, the shamayim and the aretz and everything could disappear. The only reason there is a world is for you to be able to do a mitzvah. So every time you do a mitzvah or avoid doing avera, you make the whole world good. Without it, nobody needs this world. What happens when you do a mitzvah? When you're doing mitzvot, or when you do a mitzvah, Hashem has a partner. Without you, Hashem has nobody. That's why he created the world.
ואיך כל הרעיון הזה עוזר למישהו שהוא ירא שמיים, והוא עושה את המצוות, ובכל אופן הוא נתקע בדיכאון, באדיקשן. איך שם האדמו"ר הזקן יכול לעזור לנו?
Did you ever hear a person who is חרדי, דתי, did you ever hear him say, I'm doing the mitzvah for Hashem? If you're keeping mitzvot because you want to go to Shamayim, to Gan Eden, you want to be tzaddik, you want to be holy, you want to be a chacham, sometimes you get into a bad mood and you don't want to be a chacham. You don't want to live at all. People forget you're not here to be a tzaddik. You're here because Hashem needs you. And that's such a controversial... I mean, everyone I talk to is excited about the idea, except people who are Haredi. It's ridiculous.
Why do you think is that?
Because we have this idea that Hashem is perfect, he's mushlam, he doesn't need anything, he can't need anything, he's too big, he's too perfect. So why did he create the world? Whatever. If it's not his plan, and if it's not his purpose, and if it's not his ratzon, then who cares? So you live longer, you live shorter. What's the difference? That's not depressed. That's just a fact. So when children say, I didn't ask to be born, they're not depressed. They're just smart. Why was I born? Take him to therapy. He doesn't need therapy. He needs an answer.
And the answer is because God needs us?
You say, every morning Hashem is waiting for you to say Modeh Ani. If you die, who is going to say Modeh Ani? So, Of course, Hashem has a plan, and the plan is to make the world better. How do you make the world better? You give Hashem a relationship. That's the only thing he didn't have before he created the world. So yeah, he's perfect. But he's perfect alone. He doesn't want to be alone.
ואיפה אתה מוצא את הרעיון הזה בתיאוריה של הנפש האלוקית והבהמית, אם אתה יכול לחבר את זה?
What's more important, the נפש האלוקי or the נפש
בהמית?
הבהמית?
שניהם חשובים, because with the בהמית you have the body. אם לא יהיה לנו נפש בהמית, לא יהיה ילודה.
Yeah. He says in Tanya, let's learn a little Tanya. He says in Tanya that a tzaddik is someone who does not have a yetzer hara.
נכון.
Right? And therefore, he cannot sin.
נכון.
He can't. Something that isn't kosher is like eating chalk. It's like chewing on stones.
נכון.
He has no ta'anug in anything that isn't holy. Many people who are religious say that's not true. Everybody has a yetzer hara. Can't be. If you're a human being, you have a yetzer hara. Can't be a tzaddik has no yetzer hara. Moshe Rabbeinu had a yetzer hara. Avraham Avinu had a yetzer hara. David HaMelech had a yetzer hara. Tanya says no. Even the lowest level of tzaddik does not have a yetzer hara. People can't understand it. So just ask a simple question. Who created Adam and Chava?
God.
Yeah. If he created somebody, do you expect this somebody to be like him or not like him?
Like him.
So if your children look like you, do you have to explain?
No.
But if your children don't look like you, you better explain this. The tzaddik is the most natural, the most sensible, and the most believable thing in the world. Hashem created a human being. Of course he's a tzaddik. What should he be? There are people who have a yetzer hara. Hey, you better explain that.
But you see it from Cain ve'Evel, moment after he created them.
So isn't that a big question? How did this happen?
אדם וחווה, 6 שעות בגן עדן.
How is that possible? Hashem creates you and you somehow become independent of him? How can? So there's a whole long explanation about Tzimtzum and Hester Panim, and you don't know, and he hides. And the question still is a question. If Hashem created you, how can you not know it? How can you be against him? It's a miracle. So the Nefesh Eliki is the most natural thing in the world. It's a nefesh, comes from Hashem, and it's Eloki. What else should it be? But you have a nefesh bahami. Where did that come from? Shouldn't a behemah come from another behemah? It comes from Hashem and it's a behemah? What is that? So there must be a very important reason for the Hester Panim and for the Tzimtzumim and for God hiding and blocking and why are you doing that? It turns out that the Nefesh HaBahami is more important. The Nefesh HaLiki is more natural. But the Nefesh HaBahami is more important. Why? Because it has bechira. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants someone, because he's alone, Hayahu Ushmo Bilvad, he wants someone. So how about if you have a nefesh eliki? That's not someone, that's him. He wants someone that is not him to be with him. Like you can't marry your sister or your brother. That's you. You have to marry someone who is not you. How are you not him? You have bechira. So if you love him, it's your love. And that's what he wants. The nefesh eliki loves Hashem. But that's him. He's loving himself. So what does Hashem really want when he creates the world? That the nefesh habahami should love him. Bebechira chavshi. So when it says that Hashem loves Bnei Yisrael, it doesn't mean the neshama. The neshama was not created. It's a piece of him. Why did he create the world? Because the creation can have bechira, and if you choose to love him, now he has a relationship.
אז עם זה אני רוצה ככה שנעשה סיומת, לצערי רב לפודקאסט הקצר הזה, בעצם מה שאתה אומר זה שאם אתה, בן אדם מגיע עם מצוקה נפשית, ואתה לא נותן מענה לנפש הבהמית והאלוקית, אז בעצם פספסת את המשמעות ואת החיבור של הנשמה שבשבילה היא באה לעולם.
So why is it so important to know what is the kavanah, what is the purpose of life? Because you only exist because of that purpose. It's your whole mitziyut. If you don't know, then you're out of touch with you, the real you. The reason that you exist. So you don't feel natural. What am I doing here? Why am I here? Maybe you're not here for any reason? No, not possible. That's why people say, what is the purpose of life? How do you know there's a purpose? Everybody's looking for the purpose. Who says there's a purpose? You're here, you die, and that's over. Who says there's a purpose?
גם קהלת אומר את זה.
Huh?
גם ספר קהלת, עוד יום ועוד יום עובר.
הבל הבלים.
בדיוק.
You can get very depressed.
מאוד.
Why? Because there is a purpose. If there was no purpose, nobody would care. The whole world is looking for the purpose because there is one. If there was no purpose, who would go looking for it? If you never had a home, how could you be homesick? So no, it's just crazy. No, you can't be that crazy. You can't be homesick when there was never a home. I can't feel lonely if there was never anybody else. There is something, and I know that it's missing. That's painful. So we're not all crazy when we want to know the purpose of life. It's an amazing, amazing thing that for 5,000 years, no one asked this question. Our philosophers had nothing better to do. Why are we alive? I wrote a book about it. But the average person
אבל היום יש התעוררות מאוד גדולה, שזה גם אתה רואה את כל האנשים שהולכים לאדיקשן, זה אנשים עם נפש מאוד מאוד סובלת, מאוד מאוד עם רצון, עם מצוקה נפשית, כי היא מאוד גבוהה ואין כלים.
People today do very dangerous things for fun. It was never. Who did dangerous things for fun? People were busy working hard, protecting their families, making sure you don't die from hunger. People were busy living. Nobody had the question, why should I live? Today, because we're safe, more safe, nobody's going to die from hunger. We have free time. And the question of, why am I working? Why do I get up in the morning? Why do I have to go to school? Why do I have to have a job? Why do I have to keep mitzvot? That's progress. Now we're finally asking the right questions. Not how to have a better life. What is life?
Wow.
People do dangerous things because it feels like if you get to the close to death, maybe you'll see what life is. It'll scare you so much you'll want to live, just because dying is scary. It's not that scary. It's not. To live because death is scary, not a good idea. That's not a good life.
זה גם לא משכנע. תגיד למישהו שלוקח סמים, הסמים הורגים אותך, מה אכפת לו? גם ככה רוצה למות. It's not a good...
Yeah. But somehow it feels like if I'm on the edge, here's life and here's death, I'll know what life is. You won't. Life is not the opposite of death. Is that a strange statement? Life is not the opposite of death. Life is everything. It's the opposite of nothing. Life means serving, needed. That's the opposite of needy. How would you say in Ivrit? You need or you are needed?
צריכים אותך או אתה צריך? אם תוכל ככה לסכם את זה ולתת לנו כמה מילים לסיום. אם תוכל לסכם את הפודקאסט.
Okay, so the conclusion is this. If a person is severely depressed because of trauma, you need therapy. You need intervention because it's dangerous. Once the danger is over, or if it never got dangerous, then what you need is Tanya. You need to know who you are, why you live, why you should live, why your life is important, what your life is all about, because that's what's missing. Give me a good reason to live. So some people are very, very cynical and callous and timtum halev. Say, you're here because Hashem needs you. He needs me. I don't care what he needs. That's just a bad mood. There is nothing more exciting than being needed. Nothing. People who are suicidal or depressed, it's because nobody needs them. Frankl was right. If no one needs you, you don't even want to exist. And that's much more important than love you. Nobody loves me. So, nobody needs me. Oh, then I can't live. We're so brainwashed that the most important thing in life is love. Nobody talks about being needed. And yet, we have this experience all the time. When somebody needs you, you wake up, you come alive. The Giborim who saved lives. When a life needed to be saved, they were Giborim. Now it's over. Now what? Now nobody needs me again. It's an amazing fact of life. When there's an epidemic, the doctors don't get sick. They're exposed more than anybody else. They don't get sick. Nurses don't get sick until the epidemic is over. Then they get depressed. Because now, who needs me? When somebody needed me, I felt very alive. All of a sudden, nobody needs me anymore. To be needed is the essence of life. Because we're not here because we need. I'm not here because I need. I'm only here because somebody needs me. Who?
Hashem.
Lech le'umon she'osani.
מדהים.
If we raise children knowing that they are not just loved by Hashem, they're necessary. We would have much stronger and healthier children. And they would be Eloki, not spiritual.
תודה רבה.
They were Hasidim of the second Chabad Rebbe. After learning Tanya and hearing that, Hasidim would say, if I see a tzaddik stop a funeral and open up the aron and bring the dead person back to life, I would say to that tzaddik, if you can teach me what Hashem needs, I'll be your chassid. If you can't teach me, I don't care about your miracles. Now, when you see a miracle, going back to the beginning of our conversation, you see a miracle, you have a very strong reaction. Intense. That's not life. It's gonna fade. You see it twice, you're not so impressed. 3 times, you get used to it. So it's a very intense experience. It's not life. Tell me why I live. Tell me how to serve. Then I'll be your chassid. And what's happening today, the hostages, the chatufim who are free, I don't think there has ever been such tzaddikim in the world. If a person is in danger, you're kidnapped and your life is threatened, and you start to believe in God. That's normal. These chatufim in the tunnels, they didn't start to believe in God. They started to serve him. They didn't say, yesh Elokim. No, they said, yesh Shabbat, yesh Kashrut, yesh Yom Kippur, yesh Tisha B'Av. It never happened before in history. From not knowing anything, not believing, not being shomer mitzvot, in the tunnel, they decided not to believe, but to serve. It never happened before. And look at how healthy they are. That's also not normal. 400 days, and you come out and you pick up a microphone and you start teaching people? Don't you need at least 3 years of therapy? Aren't you afraid of people? What is this? It is such a strong example in real life. If you know how to serve, nothing scares you.
מדהים.
Look at them, listen to them. And it's mostly women. So in the olden days, who were the good guys and who were the bad guys? If you are ma'amin in Hashem, you're the good guy. You're not the bad guy. If you're serving Hashem, you're a good guy. Avodah Zarah, bad guy. That's it. Today, I don't care what you believe. Don't tell me who you believe in, what you believe. Tell me what you're doing.
מדהים.
If you have a belief in a God that doesn't need you to serve him, then it's not interesting. It could be a superstition too. If you have a creator who needs you, now you're alive. A creator that doesn't need you. So what do you need a creator for? Why do you need to be created? So that you can have a bigger house? Or chelik and olam haba?
תודה רבה.
We should have good news. We need good news.
בעזרת השם.
We are very good people, but we need good news.
בעזרת השם שהצופים שלנו יצאו עם הרעיון של לחפש בשביל מה הם באו לעולם. תודה רבה.